Hello, welcome to the Morning Serve, brought to you by Emirates. I'm McArdle. Jelena Dokic is here. Jelena, great to see you. You look around today, the crowds are huge again. Record crowds so far for the tournament. It's incredible.
Yeah, they are. We're breaking records again. We thought it was amazing last year, but we're already breaking records for the first 4 days from last year. It's incredible. And I've had so many people that I know that have come in the last few days as well, just go, what an amazing difference it is, even compared to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So just when you thought it can't get bigger and better here, it does. It's kind of not even just the tennis on the court, it's everything that goes off the court as well. It's like basically a festival of tennis and sport and experiences and food and everything.
Yeah, it's more than just a sporting event, and everyone's started to realise exactly that. Let's have a look at what's coming up on the Morning Serve, and we're going to talk about the upsets. So many of them throughout the tournament so far. The home slam pressure, that's all to do with Alex De Minaur. Will he start to feel it as he goes deeper into the tournament? David and Goliath, that is Schoolkate, our Tristan Schoolkate, against Yannick Sinner. And who can push Arena Sabalenka, the top seed, the two-time defending champion in the women's draw? Stack of seeds gone so far. And it seems, I know that happened every year, but it just seems a little more unusual this year.
Look, it always happens early on in the year, not just at the Australian Open, but the lead-up tournaments. Everyone's had the off-season, everyone's worked on different things. You're coming in kind of... back to zero, basically. Everyone's starting from the beginning. And if you don't maybe win a couple of matches in the lead-up tournaments, you can lose your confidence very quickly also. So we've always kind of had those upsets in Australia and at the Australian Open, and some new faces coming through into the semis and quarters and the semis. But yeah, we've had players like Tsitsipas is out, Rublev is out,
Amazing.
Zheng Qinwen has just gone out as well. So we've had a lot of seeds out.
Well, tell us about Stefanos Tsitsipas. What's going on there? Because it's not only here, last year in Grand Slams, he did really poorly as well. What's happening?
Look, I think it's, when you say poorly, he's still 11 in the world, and we say he's had a bad year. So I think you've got to put that into perspective. We're so used to seeing Tsitsipas in the top 5 and top 10 and being a Grand Slam finalist. I think he's hit a bit of a wall. He got to a couple of Grand Slam finals, including the Roland Garros a few years ago, where he had 2 sets to love against Novak. Everyone thought he was going to win one very soon, and I think it's really affected him. And now that he's kind of a little bit further away from it, struggling with form, now it's, I think, really hitting him. And he's lost his way a little bit in the way that he plays. He doesn't structure the points as well. There's things to work on in his game which haven't improved as much as maybe a few others, like Sinner and Alcaraz, the last 2 years. And it's affected him. But I think maybe even to me, what he looks like and what I can see on the court and off the court, maybe a bit of burnout. And I said kind of in a bit of a joking way, maybe he should take a year off, but maybe take 3 to 6 months off. Just go and do a few different things, have a break from tennis. You can still do your fitness, you can still train, come back. I think he needs a bit of a change in general when it comes to his maybe coaching team as well. I would really get a former player that's got a lot of experience that would be a part of the team as well. So a new approach, new face, and then come back and give it a go.
Can I ask a question about the relationship with Paolo Badosa? When you are so public in your relationship and you become like tennis golden couple, does that add some pressure as well when you're living your life in that spotlight?
No, I don't think so. There's a few players that are in relationships on the tour, and of course Alex De Minaur and Katie Boulter, they've been now together for quite a few years now, of course engaged as well, and how well that has worked out also for their tennis, because you can support each other and you can support each other in different ways and go and watch matches and practice together and travel together. So no, I don't think that that's the reason maybe why he has struggled on the court. I think their relationship has been really good so far over, I think, a year and a half that they've been together. It seems to be working. I think for Stefanos, it's more having a fresh mind and fresh perspective going on a tennis court. He really looks to me like he's got a bit of burnout.
What about when you're the player who takes down the big name? How do you then turn around and try and maintain that level and try and get there again in the second round?
Well, it's all about mindset. When you go out there and you have nothing to lose and you beat a top player and a top seed as well, but then the pressure turns on you. I've had this a couple of times, especially early on in my career, and for me, most notably when I beat Martina Hingis in 1999 in the first round of Wimbledon, the world number 1, and then the next thing you know, I think I played someone that was ranked just inside the top 100 in the world. So I really kind of, even though I was young and no experience yet, but you struggle with that mindset going, oh, well, I'm going from the hunter to the hunted.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you're expected to win these matches. So for younger players that haven't had especially that experience, it could be something very new, and they might even end up not playing maybe on a big court, maybe on a smaller court. So all of a sudden everything turns, but you got to kind of stay in your zone and what your tactics are, what you're trying to do, not think about that pressure and expectation. And it's more about embracing the experience. Okay, if you've had a big win, that's already a highlight for your career and the Grand Slam you're in, and just go out there and play freely.
What about João Fonseca, the man who beat Andre Rublev? I get the feeling we might see a bit more of him on the big courts. An 18-year-old with a really big game. How good can he be?
Amazing. I've actually been following him the last 12 months, and I saw him play when he got a wildcard into his home tournament, ATP tournament in Rio. We already saw some amazing tennis from him, and been following him actually for the last 12 months. Of course, he won the Next Gen finals also. But then from there to go and play a challenger that's very different, less crowds, come to the Australian Open, qualify, and then beat Rublev in the first round. Massive. Keep an eye out for him, because it's not just his massive game. He just hit the fastest forehand of the tournament last night, 180 k's an hour. So massive game. Really reminds me of kind of the Sinner Alcaraz type of game. But what I love is the passion that he brings to the court. He's very competitive. He goes after it, has no fear. So João Fonseca, remember that name. He's now going to be top 100 actually. And I actually will predict that it will not take him any longer than 2 years to be in the top 10 club.
And the other thing that he showed was a sense of humility, because he was asked about this sort of God-given talent that he seems to have. And he said, well, to quote Roger Federer, it's not about talent, it's also about hard work.
Oh, I loved that. I watched it. And his idols are Roger Federer, but also Rafael Nadal, who actually kind of a little bit mentored him at the Next Gen finals and watched him play in the final, which he said was just an incredible experience. And he was really trying to bring his best and absorb everything that Rafa was telling him. He's got humility. He's very humble, even though he's already done well, and he's young. I love what he said. And he said, yeah, even if I have talent, although he was being humble, he's got more than just a little bit of talent. I love what he said. You can have all the talent you want in the world, but you got to work hard, and that's what I do. And saying that as an 18-year-old, it says a lot about his mindset.
Alex De Minaur, we saw him win through to the second round in just the fashion, I'm guessing, that you quite liked. Efficient and just on the ball from the get-go. Yeah,
I loved it against a very difficult opponent, Botic van der Zandschulp, who took out Carlos Alcaraz at the US Open last year. Big game. So a very tricky opponent. Alex doing a great job. There's so much pressure and expectation on him. Of course, we want the next men's champion here, but there's a long way to go. And what he's doing so well is he's focusing on himself, one match at a time. He's playing great tennis. We heard Leighton Hewitt actually say yesterday that the hip injury he sustained last year at Wimbledon was a lot bigger and tougher than people know. And to still come back, first tournament back after Wimbledon, after not being able to compete in the quarters against Novak, which he felt like he could give a really good crack and maybe even get through that match, make the quarterfinals of the US Open and still play well at the United Cup, which was a perfect warm-up. I think he's going into it primed. He's ready. Whether he's going to, get really, really far this year, we'll see. I think he can at least make that second week and the quarterfinals. From there on, anything can happen. But I think we need to remember he's still young. Let's not take it as kind of a given and for granted. Yes, we're going to have a champion. He takes a lot, and every match that he wins is great for not just for Australian tennis, but for kids. He's such a great role model. I love the way that he carries himself. So I think it's more about supporting him than putting that pressure on him.
Talk about him being a really good role model and a good example for kids. What about this moment last night where he realised that there was a new ball in the rotation of balls, and he basically said to the chair umpire, listen, there's a new one in here. I don't feel right about this. Yeah,
there was a new ball in which he could have just taken and could have played with and could have served with, and that's what we love about Alex. It's about that sportsmanship and what a good example he is, and he's always going to do the right thing, isn't he? Look, maybe some players would have taken it, served with it, you get a bit of an advantage, it's a faster ball, and Alex, he's always going to do the right thing. It says so much about him, and I love that we have him, that he's Australian, and we just saw it last night.
You and I have spoken about this, and that is that sense of expectation. You touched on it. It's huge now. He gets past the fourth round. That's as far as he's ever been before here. Maybe he gets into a quarter. Maybe he gets into a semi. How does he handle that?
you got to kind of block out a lot of the noise. You got to go a match at a time, just like he's doing, and you can't go, oh, look at my quarter, semi or final. There's a lot of dangerous opponents. We've already seen it, a lot of upsets, injuries as well. And for him, the most important thing actually is to stay healthy. That's what he wants throughout this whole year. He's now a top 10 player, and he's giving himself that opportunity to be at the back end of Grand Slams. And once you give yourself that opportunity a few times or a lot of times like he is, you start to kind of also get the feeling, what is it like to play Sinner and Alcaraz in a quarter or a semi of a Grand Slam? But I think what he's doing right is focusing on growth and improvement in his game. You've got to look at his game from a few years ago. He's improved so much with his serve, almost 15 kilometers an hour, bigger on the first serve. That's massive in just 2 years. Bigger game, coming in, big forehand, variation in his game. Maybe you could have called Alex being someone that moves well and a counter puncher. Can't do that anymore because he now has an aggressive game style. But pressure and expectation is there. So I just hope that we can look at it more from a supportive role again. And if he does get to quarters, semis, whatever, final, that we kind of really give him the credit he deserves and a pat on the back instead of maybe a disappointment if he doesn't win.
Do you think, you've talked about the improvement in his game, do you think he now has the weapons to win a Grand Slam? Because there are still doubters out there who say, no, he hasn't got what it takes.
He's never going to be big in stature like Sinner, and even Alcaraz, who is so explosive and dynamic quite naturally. But that's exactly what he's worked on. He has that movement on the court. He has the fitness and the foot speed, and now he's got a bigger game. He's put a lot of work into that. A lot of work off the court, a lot of work in the off seasons as well. He's, like I said, not a counter puncher. He's not someone that's going to stand back a couple of meters back behind the baseline all the time. He's now dangerous, where players know, well, I can't just float balls back. That's why he's now top 10, reached number 6 in the world. So I wouldn't agree with that, certainly not anymore. He's now got weapons, and weapons that he could win a Grand Slam with.
You spoke about Katie Boulter and Alex's relationship earlier and how they've seemed to, on court, have benefited from that. Katie Boulter, such improvement there as well.
Unbelievable. Best year of her career last year, finishing inside the top 30, winning another WTA title as well. She played so well at the United Cup. And again, I called some of the matches at the United Cup that she played massive, again, improvement in the game. And I think that Alex has been great for her, and she's been great for Alex in different ways. He's showed her another level of how you need to work hard and when to do it and how to approach matches and how to have that mindset and what to do mentally but also physically, how to take her game to the next level. I actually really love the way that she plays, very technically sound and a really smart player. And then I think she's been great, for example, for Alex, where he's always been very focused on the tennis, sometimes maybe even a little bit disappointed with himself wanting it so much. So she's brought a little bit of fun where they go and sightsee, they go and do different things. They actually post that on social media. So it's great to see that dynamic. And when you actually see them off the court, they have so much fun. They're so relaxed.
Oh, they're so cute, aren't they?
But I think Alex going to watch out Katie last night, literally within half an hour of finishing his match, says a lot. She had a tough match and he was out there to really support her. And you know what? You never know. Maybe she wouldn't have gotten through that match. He's someone that's such a massive competitor and always believes that you can win and that you can improve. And I think he's really given her that belief and confidence.
Sorry, I was just channeling my mother there. She'd say, oh, they're so sweet.
I have no comment on that. You said that, not me.
All right, let's have a look at the flight plan, today's flight plan for Emirates. Now, which of these matches would you be taking in and making sure that you had a seat ringside?
Runa Berrettini, Fonseca, Sonego, Aiva Collins, Raducanu, Anisimova. Amazing matches, but I'm going to go with Aiva Collins. I love Destiny's journey. She's been through a lot. She qualified here, got through the first round when she was 2 match points down to be in the second round. She's had a tough journey, including with her mental health, which she's been very open about. So I love what she's bringing kind of to the tennis court and really fighting. And Fonseca, keep an eye on him because he beat Rublev. Sonego, really good player. So can he go further? I hope that we get to watch more of him even already this year, even though we're gonna see a lot more of him in the years to come. But I'm gonna go with those two amazing players.
There's always a player in the draw who comes through and just creates a lot of chat, and it is João Fonseca right now. Everybody is talking about João Fonseca. So a bit of a David and Goliath clash. Tristan Schoolkate, Yannick Sinner, the defending champion, the top seed, and the young guy from Perth. How do you approach that?
You just approach it as a great opportunity, and would maybe have Tristan from 10, even 5 years ago thought that he would be here and that he would be playing Jannik Sinner in the second round? Probably not. So you look at it as this journey where you've done so well. You get the opportunity to be out there on a big court in front of a big crowd to play the best player in the world. It can be a little bit daunting because Sinner is playing so well at the moment, doesn't really have a weakness that you can pick at too much, and he's so incredibly strong emotionally, physically as well. He's the defending champion. So I think Tristan will and should go out there going, look, I have to believe that I can win and that I've got a chance in this. That's what you've got to do as an athlete, and not just kind of be happy to be there, but at the same time enjoy the experience. He's on the rise, Tristan. He's playing well. Enjoy your home Grand Slam, being here at the Australian Open, already winning a match. Go out there and just play freely.
A lot of players do homework on their opposition and, as you say, try to identify a weakness. Could be difficult with Jannik Sinner. When you're not expected to win like that, do you concentrate more on yourself or do you do that homework?
Depends what kind of a player you are. I was always someone that liked to know a little bit about my players or the players that I was playing against, have a little bit of a game plan. Yes, Sinner, you might not be able to get too much. There's not really a lot of weaknesses there, if any, and that can be tough. But I think also Tristan needs to focus on himself, the nerves going out there. There will be some. How does he handle that as well? And at times, is he going to have to just kind of almost go for it and go a little bit outside of his comfort zone, maybe do things he's not used to, maybe play a bit bigger? Yes, potentially. So you got to do what you can, and he's got a team around him as well that I'm sure will help him. So you do every little bit that you possibly can.
Do you remember your first time on Rod Laver Arena? It wasn't that long ago.
It was a very long time ago. Thank you for reminding me. It was actually 26 years ago, believe it or not. So, yeah, I do, actually. I remember it. I loved it. And, it wasn't my first actual official match on Rod Laver Arena was against Martina Hingis in the third round as a 15-year-old. So I have to say, though, it was, I know I'm trying to tell players and less experienced players to go out there and have fun, and that's what you want to try and do. Just the first thing I think to keep an eye on is not to be kind of overwhelmed by the occasion and the big court and crowd.
Yep.
Take it in, maybe even get the crowd on your side. That's what I try to do, but it can be daunting if you haven't played on a big court. So take it in, look around in the warm-up as well in the first couple of games so that you get comfortable on the court. All
right, Jelena, just before we go, I'm going to give you some names. Someone who might be able to take down Arena Sabalenka. So let's go through it. Coco Gauff, Iga Swiatek, Jasmine Paolini, Elena Rybakina, Navarro, Kasatkina.
Oh, amazing players. All played well already in the lead-up. So I'm going to go with what we've seen so far and the form with the lead-up tournaments mostly, especially because quite a few of them were at the United Cup. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with Coco Gauff and Iga Swiatek. I think it's hard to go past Coco with how well she's been playing. MVP at the United Cup, didn't lose a match. Finished the year so well at the end of last year as well. But look out for Iga. Maybe she's flying even as a world number 2, a little bit under the radar because it's a hard-court Grand Slam and it's been at times obviously the harder one to win for her. But I'll go with Coco.
All right. Jelena, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your company today. That is just one of the questions to be answered here over the next week and a half at the Australian Open. Thanks for your company on The Morning Serve.
Wide World of Sports on YouTube is your home of the tennis this summer.
With highlights of the best matches of the summer of tennis, the on-court interviews and every day with The Morning Serve, you'll be ahead of the game.
So click that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing this summer.